Yeah, currently our weakest sectors are industrials, financials, and materials. Just FYI.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I might look at a couple of spiders here. Let's look at XLI.
Oh, there's a big push.
Go to a
Will
2 hour.
today be a trend day, or will today be a maybe, maybe not? We got a meeting today, right?
I know we had the CPI this morning, but what else was there on the agenda? I'll
And
have to
there's
look at the
somebody
calendar.
speaking today. I'll go look. Time.
Is that why SPY went like crazy in the pre-market right now, all the way up? Because of the CPI numbers?
Yeah,
Yeah, bad is good right now.
bad is good.
Yeah, we're right at that. We've only got one more candle to go to the left. The high of what 390.39. So we're trucking.
Keep on trucking.
It's a lot of sell trapped probably at this point.
Yeah, we might be able to open a broken wing butterfly on UUP maybe. Let me see about how that one would work. Sorry. I'm trying to get back into practice of those so I can kind of teach some really fun ways to trade those. And Rock, you kind of harken to this, how you can turn an options position into a can't lose position. With the broken wing butterfly, you leave yourself space for a credit spread in the middle of it, and you can close it, or you can keep it open and let it all expire for a cannot lose situation as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
Only it's a little bit more risk averse on the initial opening, so it's kind of a neat strategy. See if we can place one effectively somewhere.
Are we gonna flag up here again? One. This is two.
We could.
Apple's approaching recent pivots to the left, 142.80. This will be interesting.
Yep, there it goes.
This
Yeah,
is
we're hitting some level. I got 389.11 as a pivot, a VWAP, previous day VWAP.
let me run this as a 5-second chart.
Had to go run and grab a bunch of those this morning, and I was running late.
Mm.
Looks like a diamond pattern starting, or an M top on the 10-second chart.
And that dollar is crashing.
Yes, it is.
Kind of grateful for that dollar crashing.
Same.
Good morning.
Morning.
Look at that. My, my, my. Yeah, it hit that 389.21, so it passed that 389.11 pivot. Next one above that I have, or previous VWAP, is 389.58 on SPY.
I need to do that the other way. All right.
Amazon's moving up a little too. Oil down.
Butterflies are damn near impossible on UUP here. Let's see what else we got.
Is this what happens when you don't trade the futures?
Yep, I go right back to options. I'll get back into futures once my other account gets open.
I couldn't help that. I'm sorry.
Quite all right.
I mean, I shouldn't be teasing.
Yeah, pick me.
Actually, you could probably handle it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother me.
It sucks because I'm over here paper trading on Trade of 8.
I don't mind at all.
I've been trying to work on
What happened to your Trade of 8?
Oh, you weren't there for that.
They upset
You missed
me.
it.
No, I heard. I think it was yesterday. You were talking about it didn't catch your trailing stop.
Yeah, so it ignored my trailing stop on a short Bitcoin futures position, and then it had a spike that blasted right back through that zone where I was in profit, and it ended up auto liquidating me on the spike because the futures went to like 12,000 or where was Bitcoin? Hang on a second. My brain is fried from this.
And
Yeah.
I love trend days.
Went to like 19,500, 19,600, and I was short at like 17.6, and in profit. My trailing stop should have kicked in and taken that profit, and it got ran over. I looked away from it, got ran over, didn't trigger. And the thing is, a trailing stop is supposed to absolutely trigger. There's nothing. It's never supposed to have an issue with futures because it's having that order, that limit order, follow your money down. So anyway, it got ran over or somehow voided or whatever the hell happened to it. And then on the futures chart, well, on their futures chart, I have to verify this because I want to see what Coinbase's chart looks like from that time frame yesterday still. But they're traded on Coinbase, and even though Bitcoin was trending down horrendously, I'm in this time frame where there was no way in hell it was going to go back above 19,000, and I was in really good profit at the bottom of this, and then all of a sudden that spike came out of nowhere. You don't see that on Bitcoin's actual chart, period. So long story short, ended up auto liquidating. It was on my small account, thankfully, because it wasn't much. But if this would have happened on my big account, I would be livid. So long story short, that account is pretty much flat. Their auto liquidation policy, they charge you a hell of a lot of money when they auto liquidate. And being that spike came from nowhere, I had no inclination of seeing it. Bitcoin went nowhere near that price, nowhere near it at all, and this whole thing went off. So it's very upsetting.
That's crazy.
So,
I've never not had my trailing stop not work in TradingView. So
me neither. It's never happened. I mean, it was close enough to be triggered easily, and yet far enough where there was still liquidity. There's no way it should have gotten canceled, but it did.
So now what you have? You have to open a ticket with them, and you have to
Yeah, I talked to them about it, and they're like, well, it's charted on Coinbase, or it's traded on Coinbase, so I need to go and see a Coinbase screenshot of what the price action was in that time period from about 10 to 11 yesterday and compare. See if I can get that open here.
Yeah, that's not good.
No. Very upsetting, to say the least.
All right. Hit 3090.47. I blew through my 3090.19 pivot. Let's see what happens here. We're going to get a rollover.
But yeah, I can go right back to that time frame yesterday and just absolutely dumbfounded on that.
I'm doing great right now with the scalping.
Good.
Yeah, let me get this.
10:04.
Let me get this highlighted, and this is a 10-second chart nonetheless. So let me show you what happened here. Now I'll run it on candlestick so you can see. And I know it's just a nano future, but still, I had a size position on that should have been safe with the trailing stop, and it just got ran over. But right before that drop off, I mean, it was flat for a while. Let me post this in the screen here, or in the chat. You see it was flat. I went short in that flatness, knowing it was going to break over. It broke over, had me in significant profit when it went all the way down to like 16.2. I was short at 17.6, so that should have been really nice. Trailing stop was on board. I can't remember exactly how many ticks I set it up on the trailing side, but never got triggered. Got canceled and all of a sudden price spikes up with 3 bars out of nowhere, and that futures went to like what was it, 19,260 out of nowhere. And you compare that to a Bitcoin chart that I have live here on my screen, it did not do any such thing, even remotely near $19,000 for that matter, or even $18,000 for that matter at that time frame.
That's $1. The VIX, they're curling up.
Just kind of ridiculous.
So let's say you prove that.
If I prove that, they're going to have to deal with me, but I've got to get a Coinbase chart from that.
Reimburse you that money?
They would have to at that point. I mean, it canceled my... It depends on what the data says. For like, if I find a Coinbase chart that actually did show this same exact data, then I've got no argument. Maybe it was just a liquidity issue. My stop order might have got canceled because it was set up the wrong point. I don't know what happened. So who knows? But one way or another, until I get this resolved, I'm not trading futures at all. And at the same time, I am running up a TradeStation account as we speak. So I'm getting that all signed up for future trading.
All right, are we going to push again here?
I don't know. It looks like we may be falling over.
Yeah, it's kind of getting to that resistance point, and we're looking at that regression line that we set up right here was our key resistance here, and it's currently sitting at, gosh, it spiked right to it. Just about.
Well, maybe not.
On the 1 minute, if it does fall over, I mean, what do we typically expect? Like a 50% retracement of the whole bull move up?
Well, it's got to break a couple of situations first for that to happen. One, you've got this angular line right here, and that's from our diamond pattern. Let's see here, you can see it here. It's kind of woven in there. It's still rising, but it's also diverging from the other line on our diamond that we drew yesterday. Let me see here. There it is.
Sorry, let me rephrase that. From the 940 mark bull run up to the what is it, like 1005 maybe?
Oh yeah.
Like that move was probably, if it were to fail, it would probably do at least a 50% retracement of that whole move, right?
Yeah, it could. Well, look at it as a two leg. So it's part of a leg. So you got 943 here up to your first pullback. There's your measured move, right? Nice bullish measured move. 50% retracement would take that down to about 388, right in the center of that. I don't know that it would go for 100% retracement just yet. And it's weird because you're looking at a 1 minute chart. These candles are kind of small looking, they're anemic. But those are big candles in real life here. And I can't set the range correctly for a Weeble chart to do what I want it to do, but I can go to a shorter time frame and see it.
At 390.19 again. That's I know it went to 390.47, but it broke that dollar mark and it came back to that came up underneath that dollar. Remember we talked about that the other day, how it breaks the dollar mark, even if it goes over it, it'll come back down to like the 70s or so of the previous dollar it was at.
Right.
So the 70 cents. So if it breaks like it broke 390.47, it came back down to 389 something-ish. Actually, it came down further than that.
Yeah, we just broke the recent pivot by
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's why it came back down. It kind of took a breath.
So we got three.
Hey, where you been?
Three things to think about here, and this is kind of starting to look a little like an M-top, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So you've got potential to push right back up to about 390.45. And if it breaks over there and starts to slope past, you've got first target 389.75. If it breaks the critical support of the M-top, we know how M-tops work. About 389.30 is where that sits. then we could very easily get that retracement at least to 50% of this whole measured move here. So we can look for, a pullback to like 388. Very possible.
Man. How about that? Yeah, I'm
Also,
looking at that M top look.
I'm going to stick lines on
And
my
also,
chart and see.
You see the triple bottom on the... Oh, you're not looking at a 10-second chart, are you?
No, it's 15.
Oh, do you have a triple bottom on the 15?
I'm looking at it on the MES.
Yeah, on the MES 10-second chart, there's a triple bottom.
It's probably
Let's see though if it
sticking
holds
out
up.
of this mess here.
Mm-hmm.
As if it's a trend, triple bottom, and then revision. And
Yeah.
it could set up for
We'll
a
see,
third
though.
leg measured move.
We'll
we're
see.
we're
gotta
way out of
hold some
range for that
stuff.
though. It's possible though.
415 is possible, but this is already 15 bagger. It's already a 15 bagger, but
Right.
overnight.
Yeah.
Up, big red candle.
I mean, look at our current range here. Like, look at that 385.64 was our low, and we almost nailed a $5 move just in this action here. So I mean, if you're looking for a break over here on an M top, and you're looking for low risk on that, you want to see if
Look
it
at your
breaks that
5
support
minutes.
first.
Your 5-minute chart, those two dojis, that's indecision. So let's see what happens here.
Right.
1 minute, I'm looking at IWM. It's got a bar spinner bar.
Thank you for mentioning those dojis on the 5. I was getting ready to hit the buy button on the put side, and then I heard doji, and I was like, wait a minute, stop, slow down.
Well, that's one of the things in the futures course. If you look at the Al Brooks training, the seminar, and like I said, Lucian does a great job of editing it down so it's in bite-sized pieces. One of the things he talks about in that, here's a guy's been trading for 40 years or whatever, is that when you get those dojis like that on a 5-minute chart, he doesn't do anything. He
Right.
waits because there's an indecision going on.
All right, so you said that Al Brooks is in which course?
In the futures, next level futures.
Yep.
Okay, because I now have access to the entire course library, so I'm
Awesome.
trying to grind my way through some of that, but it's really hard at the moment because I got a side gig that I'm working on, and also
Sure.
I got my main job having some things I need to report on, and I'm day trading during the day and stealing some time from work, so it's not a good scenario.
So
Grabbing from Peter.
what would that be under the next level library?
Should be under next level libraries futures trading, and then I think the way it's set up, you'll have like all the 6 teachings on the left, and then there's the Al Brooks seminar on the right. You get the whole seminar, and then underneath it he breaks it down into sections.
So it's labeled as Al Brooks seminar.
Al Brooks webinar, I think. Is that what
Thank
it's
you.
labeled as, Jeremy? I hadn't been in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think it is as Al Brooks webinar.
All right, thank you guys.
You're welcome. It's great price action. I learned a whole lot from it.
Do we also have his book? The oh man, I can't remember the title it was, and I'm sure he
Yeah.
has more than one book, but there was one that was about price action.
I don't know if we have his book or not. I know this. We have Jeremy, and he's a freaking book.
He really is, man.
He really
Every
is.
day I learn something new from him,
He
and
doesn't
I'm
like
loving
the
it.
phrase. We call him Ferengi breath. We don't want him to get too swell.
Every day.
Makes me feel
But
better. Keep me humble.
He's got Ricardo on the 10-second chart. He's got me reading the 10-second chart now for a couple of months, and it's amazing now. I think I was talking about it yesterday. Say how slow or how slow it feels for 10 seconds now. It's like it takes forever.
Now, it was in the power hour we were talking about that.
Yeah, it's like, man, 10 seconds takes forever.
All right, I still have my data. I'll pull up the ES.
You don't have to do that.
The goal is to get to that 1 second chart.
Right?
Oh my God.
You guys are nuts.
You ain't
Oh, dude.
kidding. I'll be right
You ain't
back.
heard nothing yet, but you should see some of the stuff we've been doing with it.
I
Oh
don't
my
know how
God.
you do your trades fast enough on a 1 second chart, man. Like I miss so many movements just trying to place my order half the time.
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's not impossible,
And that's on the 15 second chart that I'm struggling to keep up with.
right? There we go. Yeah, that 1 second chart is a monster, man. It's really a different thing to trade. But like you can do HA candles on the thing with just the simple 8 and 20 period moving average and trade the breaks. The hard part is staying out of the chop because it will try to chop you up. But you can go in and scalp that thing so stinking quick. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do something fun with that. Hang on a second. While I'm waiting for my stuff to transfer over to a TradeStation account, I'm going to go ahead and I can paper it. Why the hell
Look
not?
out now. Victoria, if you're out there, I didn't get up as early as I usually do, but I put a couple in that for you.
I got you.
Yeah. Also, NRBO, which moved yesterday. Sometimes I like to watch those guys for a couple of days. And Peggy moved a little bit today. And if you go look at NRBO from yesterday, that whole day is a classic penny stock pattern that I like to see. And it it really is. So, yeah.
Okay,
There you
I'll
go.
go and follow that one today. I'm waiting for a cash account, so no trading today.
There you go. And one of the things I've had to learn while we're in here, Jeremy, is I've had to realize that you trade penny stocks differently than you trade options as far as,
Oh, yeah.
your strategy, because in penny stocks you can only go bullish. So you're only looking for those descending channels and double bottoms, right?
Right.
And things like that. But when you're trading other stuff, you got to look at all the details and everything. I realize now there's different strategies to trade. So as my evolution continues, I will share it with you all.
Much appreciated.
V, are you running again? Fun was moving too for some reason.
Let's see if I can run this with a bracket that works correctly. All right. Oh, I got email to answer too. Got that thing coming up after hours today. It's kind of
You do. I'm excited about that for you.
going to be very interesting.
I have a birthday today, not mine.
Yeah, not mine.
My fiance's birthday.
All right, on. Give her our best.
I will.
Nope.
I had a good morning, by the way. I rode that little ride on IWM for a little bit. Got me a nice little return.
Very cool. There we go. Now
Oh,
I got
yeah.
the bracket to work.
I also grabbed some on the MES.
This is stinking small, but this is a 1 second chart.
Ooh, my goodness. So we had that pop, then we had that big move, and now we've got this little consolidation thing happening.
Let me run this out a little bit more.
Big
HA
red
candles.
candle on that 5 minute last 5 minutes. I just saw that.
Now,
That's crazy.
I was playing with the bracket back here, but now we got it set. This is paper. This is not my real account. Don't follow this.
It's gonna get filled, no? Oh no.
I should have sold that right there. But anytime you see that little breakover where price breaks over or under the 8 period, like here you can go long for a second. Ride that 8 period through the 20. When it runs out of gas, close it. Oop, I wasn't fast enough. That candle right there.
Son of a gun. That was like 2.5 points
Yeah.
on that
Whoops.
1 second candle.
I clicked on the wrong spot.
I can't think that fast. Well, actually, I'm starting to. Boron, thank you.
There you go. What just happened? Oh, man. I'm having troubles here. technology.
VERU. When you get a chance, go look at VERU. Look at those clean frickin' candles.
Sure.
Oh, this is traded institutionally.
Oh, here's a long
This is a
side.
penny stock. Look how clean those frickin' candles are. I've got levels above it. It's hitting old levels we had marked out from a long time ago.
I'll go back to VERU.
This is
That
the
one-
one that, yeah, okay.
That 1 second chart looks like a video game, man.
Yeah, right? Oh, look at VERU.
That's why I like this is a video game.
Sitting there running.
Isn't it a video game we're playing right now?
Sure.
I'm addicted to video games. It's the only one I play.
There you go.
Yeah, I saw look at those clean candles.
I'm gonna
Look how
watch.
clean VERU is.
Yeah, it's a nice run. We can go find some levels on that real quick. Let's do that.
I got levels.
You got levels. I know you got levels.
This is the level. This is the thing we traded before. I got the levels it's in right now up to 813.
Dude, look at where the 50% of this trend is. Got like $16 possible.
Oh, look, Jeremy, I've got those levels. I've got levels gaps in this thing because it gapped. I got levels right now. It's in the $7 to $8 range I had. The next levels I have above it are 1336 to 1612.
Yeah, we just go and we look at all the little gap information on the daily chart, all the candles for control. Like your key resistance to break here, if this continues to run, it's like 1140. My
Yeah,
gosh,
this is wild.
we're trailing from a gap down to return to null here, so to speak. But if we look at the 50% of this whole trend here,
Spy
Oh,
says
we're
it's
breaking
going
through.
higher. Yeah, I was just saying, Spy says we're going higher. Sorry about that.
it says screw your M top. We're going to do another measured move.
Yeah, you could expect that second leg now. Damn, that's going to be a big ass leg. Can it do $25 in a day?
Pull back or break over. Look at that. I just missed that.
Holy cow.
That was a beautiful pullback.
There was the entry, son of a Are we
It's
on
okay.
YouTube?
Yeah, we are.
I got some of that.
You got it. You saw the entry, didn't you?
Yep. Let's watch this.
Ricardo?
For one more
Yes,
I'm
sir.
real
pullback.
happy. I'm real happy you got that and you were executing it. That's excellent.
Boop.
It's simple. You wait for one thing, you wait for the strategy, you wait for the setup, and then you go in like a beast.
I got like close to $20 on that.
That's good.
Almost nailed my bracket there. You see that? That's going to hit it right there. Boom. Done. I'm trying to set the right bracket on this thing to do this, but you've got to if you're going to try and trade a 1 second chart. And it washed me out of my entry because my bracket was too wide.
Wow, I got that 5 second entry just now, just perfect, like right at the wick.
Let's see if I can grab that. Nope, that's going to break the 20 or the 8 period right here. Short. Back to about
Oh, no,
Yeah.
got me.
39.10.
Son of a biatch. All right, it got me on that one.
I'll wait for the long. Here, I come back. Dang it. Couldn't go fast enough. It's going to break over and grab my bracket. No good. I mean, if you're fast enough, you can nail it, but this is high volatility. And like, if I'm going to trade a 1 second chart, it's going to be in the middle of the day when it's slow. This is just not going to work.
Last night I was scalping MES like around 11, and it was very slow, and it was like I was catching like $5-10 pushes.
Nice. And that's what you can do on those short time frames like this. But in volatility, man, that's so stinking fast. And it's like you can't set a bracket wide enough to not get washed out of a move. Here we go. We're going to actually have one push. There it is. I'm watching that 15-second chart, and I knew that was coming.
Yep. Well, there's your push.
And let's see, resistance is right here, 390.07, 08. See if we get one more pullback that we can actually grab. The next pivot's 389.75. Oh, it smoked it. Down we go. 389.30 might touch.
But I got out of that son of a gun earlier.
See, I can catch the rebound on that, but man, that bracket's got to be tight. Nope, that was a bad entry. No, fast enough. 8 crossing above the 20. Cool, we're rolling.
8
I
crossing
came
above
back
the
and
20.
grabbed my bracket. That's sticking fast before I get the button.
Wow.
This is not the time to be trading a 1 second chart. Probably go to a 5 second chart though.
What do we look like on a 30-minute?
Yeah, 5 seconds looking like a pullback to
All right, we're above that, so we should be pushing back up.
39.09.
Am I on? Yeah, I am. Sorry. Both talking about stuff. All right, let's see.
I do want to go back to
Gotta
looking at
break out of
VERU
that.
though, because that thing's going to be a screamer.
Yeah.
See, it's threatening to close that gap back up, at least to the 20 period for the short term. So about 870 is a good, reasonable target. Ah, there's the breakover. Let me mark this a couple places. So we need to have support right here at about 682. And retrace target would be about 712 here for the short term.
Fine with me. Oh, sorry. I was talking about a text I had.
Gotcha.
The gigs come and the gigs go.
Ah,
I had 5, and then I just got the text. Hey, that one next week's been canceled. Like, okay, great. Fine with me. I have the futures.
very cool. More of a talk. Okay, cool. Just getting feedback on the format for this encounter with a really, can I say that? Person with a huge following, but he's not really, it's more of a founder. The one who set things in motion for the Reddit group is kind of the way to call it. Because if you call everybody followers and then like, you know, you got somebody who's trading on that, you know, that's not happening. Just somebody who brought people together and made connections and did networking. Kind of one thing I like to do, networking people and kind of building relationships with many different people so that I can kind of point to the go-to guys whenever anybody I know needs help. So when you build a community like that, it's more of you're a founder. You can kind of think of it as the rising tide raises all ships type of thing, but the founder is the guy who's got to be able to make the connections and put all the right people in the right places. So
This is teasing y'all.
it is.
It's just a teasing.
Well, look, it's trying to set up like the M-top was back here, right here on a 15-second chart. That is some volatile trading. And I'm just going to wait for this to shake off volatility, crush everything, and then start looking for some debit spreads or something we can trade that's a little more risk averse.
We got something coming out here in just a second.
But if you want to scalp options in this mess, it's pretty fun, but you got to be very careful. Morning. The man. Got the blind trader with us on our YouTube channel.
Thanks. Look at Meta. If you get a chance, I had a message about Meta.
Yeah, we've got
Somebody
some things to look at.
$300 off of Meta this morning. That's freaking awesome.
Nice. Oh, you're talking about the in the chat there, yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I had a message about it, so it was cool. Thank you, Rugger. I like it. What are those? 30-minute candles. Let's go look at the 15.
Heck yeah, we can short Meta now. Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, you're getting into a high. There he goes, right there.
I'm mean to Meta, man. Let's look left. Oh, look at that 2-hour gap we're into. Now we
Bad
got something.
mistake there.
Check out Meta.
Damn it.
I've been taking my eyes off this thing for too damn long. So we've got a good chance of retracing some of that, and we kind of set this as, you can use your fibs on this candle, but realistically you wouldn't want to. I already had these pivots down on this, and if you remember correctly, I set those up on a weekly chart just by looking left at control levels within that mess.
Darn, I missed part of that downward move on SPY because I had a limit order that I didn't get a chance to increase. So it bumped me out at only like making like $15.
No bueno. I'm like chasing squirrels today with all this information and stuff being like, I'm looking over here, looking over there. I got too many things going on. It's kind of one of those mornings where I'm just like looking for the better option strategies. I'm looking for stuff that's going to be slow and steady and at the same time risk averse. I think Meta is going to give us some pretty good range. I almost wonder if we can get any piece of that where I put the 30-minute on. There it is.
Okay, now it's looking like an M-top.
Let's put some pivots on Meta.
And we're ranging sideways is all we're doing right now.
So we got a 110 candle.
Damn, I missed that sell-off.
Yeah, me too.
112 candle.
That's okay. They'll come around again and we'll be ready.
Let's round that to a 115 candle.
No FOMO.
JOMO, joy of missing out.
And the 115 is roughly half that move. Now let's go back and look at a 5-minute on Meta. And I ended up dragging one of my pivots. Damn it.
Is 389.15 a pivot as well or something? Because it seems like it's stagnating on the 5-second chart for quite a while over there.
Oh, this is the 15-second chart. That's the 200 period right there. It's just hanging right on. I keep talking about that 200 period, man, but I'm telling you, it's relevant on every time frame. I always think of it as like my moving pivot. So yeah, it's looking a bit bearish all of a sudden. We got a bearish measure move setting up here. Target would be 3830.
Did you guys read about that? I think is the guy from Binance.
Yeah.
He lost like
Billions.
billions.
Yeah.
19 billion. Something
Jeez.
like that.
I think it was 14 or something, but it was a ridiculous amount.
Man. Where are we? Let's see now. Now we are in a wait and see game.
I see us getting rejected by the 8 period through the 200 period right now. Boom.
What is going on? We had some kind of market watch stuff. We had the natural gas report came out. We have tips. Is the tips announcement, the 10-year tips announcement at 11, is that a crazy thing? Let's go see. One of these dang thing is nuts when they do it. Let me go see.
I'll hold that position. There we go. That was the key. Just turn the damn bracket off.
I don't have anything in red flames. I just have a bunch of
this entry.
Fed speak at 12:30, but it's yellow.
Yeah.
That entry would have got nailed by that trailer I had with the bracket order. but I caught it because I saw the breakover. And it was just as simple as seeing this little doji right here, and the next candle opened under that 8 period. Boom, nailed it. Next, I think we might go a little lower here because we're rejecting the 8 period over here. Let's see what the next candle tells us first. Or this is 15 second, this is 5 second over here. I need to find those levels on Meta, and I want to do that before 11 because I want to see if we can get a well, we can actually set up a butterfly on that whole mess.
No, we have at 1:30 we have FOMC member George speaks, and then we have the federal balance at 2 o'clock. Those things show 2 stars, so there's going to be some sort of volatility. Doesn't look like the bill auction shows anything of volatility there. So, okay, so what you're going to do here, Mr. MES? I'll be right back.
Okay, so we know that the 112 pivot is very solid. Looking at the 1 hour chart on Meta. Let's look a little bit further into this. The 30-minute chart's where I found all the little fine movements here. And then when I went over to the right, I ended up dragging a pivot that I didn't intend to drag, but there it is right there. Let me lock that damn thing. Lock. And build one more. I know I just hit the trash can on that 105, but meant to hit the lock button. There we go. Okay, now we have the pivot set up. We just look at control bars. Any other time frame. We could even go to a 15-minute and probably find some more fine movement, but we just need to be kind of close for basic option strategies such as debit spreads, credit spreads, that sort of thing. And I'm going to see if I can find a way to morph into a broken wing on that eventually, but I want to see if we can go and get a handle on probably debit spreads first would be the way to go. So we got SPY breaking again. It sucks when there's so much volatility. You got so many things you can look at and trade, and like you can literally just jump on any chart and start whacking at it. Day trading, but then you got to go and figure out, okay, well, what's a good swing trade here? What's a good longer term position? Well, you've got Meta with the flag here. I'm betting this thing kind of fails here and pulls back at least to that 20 period, about 104.20. So the idea is if I can go and grab, a set of put debit spreads with enough time on them, probably a week or two, and ride that down on momentum and then go and open up a set of call debit spreads, I can lock profit between the two spreads and carry a condor with a positive delta into the next move. And the next move is volatility. So if we look at that 1 hour chart again, we can see we've got range to retrace some of this gap, and we've got pivot points within that gap. So when you start with a condor, there's one cool thing you can do. You can turn it back into a strangle later on by buying back the short legs. And then essentially you can use price action if it's just going to sit here and grind sideways, and I'm kind of expecting that. You can go in and out of those short legs while never losing your long position, and the profit you have locked in on the condor, if you time it right, you can actually turn this into a long-term position. And say you have an expiration 2 weeks out, you can have a whole week to generate income on the short legs if it continues to grind sideways without ever losing your fundamental position that is opened with profit initially after you close the other end of it. So like if you're riding momentum down, wait for that to be profitable and then go and get the call debit spread on the other side of it and ride the momentum back the other way. So kind of a neat thing to do when you have the volatility to do it. I'm not 100% sure it'll be fruitful on Meta. I'm going to look at the options chain and see if it's even worth trying. But if not, we do have one that we can do this with. Good old trusty Ford.
Ford!
Good old Ford.
I used to have a doctor named Ford.
Ah, yeah.
He wasn't that great. He was like the Ford.
Yeah.
He almost killed me one day, prescribing me medication he shouldn't have.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. That was the last time I was in his office.
Well, that's not fun.
No, I've had that happen a couple times.
So you can see with Ford, we've actually retraced a
Let's
lot of
short 'em.
this bearish action. We've been playing exactly to these pivot points. I mean, pretty handily. We've got Ford nailed as far as price action goes, finding all those pivots, finding the action, finding the trade possibilities with it. Now, remember this little diamond here? We're hitting the angular resistance on that thing. Shocker. So now what do we do? Well,
Nasty.
if we see some rejection up there, we can go ahead and trade that. We can go ahead and go to the short side. And if we do not see rejection, if we see it continuing to rise through that pivot point, that 14 pivot, and we go to the penny on Ford with our pivots, by the way, because Ford is just it kind of moves like a penny stock, so you can go to regular pennies rather than trying to round things off to the nearest whole dollar or 75-cent level or whatever the heck you find with something like Meta comparatively. So with Ford, we've got this rising channel. Comes from our diamond pattern. This is on a daily chart, mind you, so take this as simple as it can be. So our bull target for the day is probably right up around 1435, and it can extend to about 1440 if it decides to close this gap. So let's go ahead and put one more pivot line there, as if we don't have enough dope on our chart.
Oh, look at them lines. 1970s. Ah, okay. I'm just teasing y'all. I'm just being silly. Don't nobody take me serious.
Charts and tables,
Except
man.
Except for when I start talking real stuff.
There you go.
Like
so
charts.
let's see if we can fudge this a little bit. So we've got a couple price points to pay attention to that are actually just slightly askew of this little gap right here. And I can't get my cursor to show it, but I'm looking at 1465, which is about the top of this control bar right here. Dang it. It just won't do it. So long story short, we've got some pivots to trade into on Ford. Well, we've got some major bullish action happening today. May or may not have things to do with the way SPY's moving, but kind of looks like it might. But we know where all the known targets are. So we zoom out. What are we going to do with that? Well, if you weren't in a strangle coming into yesterday, you're kind of SOL. You missed most of the move, right? What are the chances of this retracing and rejecting off this pivot? That's what we can look for on short term. We can go into the 5-minute chart and start realizing, okay, rising channel. If we start to get a bearish break, all we got to do is look for the trend line break. And if it breaks that trend line, we look for our retracement targets and trade accordingly. So if we're trying to set up something where we can make into a net positive position, whether it's building a strangle or a condor, we can run that. All we got to do is wait for our price action to tell us which direction to trade first to initially open this thing. And for all intents and purposes, if we don't see that signal, don't trade it. This thing could sit here and trend on, grind up and run that entire gap and then some. You got a gap right here to 1449. It's very possible. That's quite a bit of price size, right? And then the extension can be even further up. I mean, look at all your control bars. You got a control bar up here at like 15 bucks, which I'm going to draw. This chart gets nastier and nastier and nastier with all these pivot points. But trust me, they're actually useful. Actually, it's right at 1496.
Very, very, very useful.
So if we get above this, the 1414 level, which we're kind of playing with, we can expect accumulation and then possibly a push beyond. So knowing that we have a diamond bottom already in play, we've got angular resistance already in play on that up to 1450. Anything's possible. So what do you do with this? Do you go long here? Well, it's too late. if you were to get long on this, you would have looked for a break of this pivot right, or this angular resistance right here. Let's go to the long side, ride that on momentum. When it does turn around, add your put side. Who are stock traders' favorite traders? Who is the GOAT?
Brooks.
Well, what is your stock there, Mr. Aaron? And how you doing? Welcome to our YouTube channel. The GOAT is kind of funny because we're all becoming goats, I guess, in that manner. We get better and better every day as we learn more and more about price action. And I won't laugh at anybody. I've traded stuff that's like sub penny, like tenths of a cent type stocks, and murdered it because I know price action very well. If I do laugh at all, I'll be laughing with you. I think we got a good shot at having Meta hit a $1.10 today. There's your
Where is
bullish
it right
engulfing
now?
on SPY, by the way. It's sitting at 107.48, but it's setting up for at least a half leg measured move. And let's see, half is like 104.50 down to like 101. That puts us in range for 110. Oh, MULN? Yeah, I'm looking at that one. That's my future wheel trading target right there. I won't laugh at that at all. In fact, I'm going to start showing stuff about that one.
All right, so that was kind of a little bit of a
When this thing,
hammer right there.
if that thing grinds its way back to somewhere between 50 cents and $1, it'll be worth selling options on. In fact, if you wanted to, you could sell cash covered puts to enter this thing. It's so stinking low that you're going to be ahead of it on your assignment price almost no matter what. Heck, let me pull up in the weeklies on that right now. I like looking at stuff that's in that price range because it's a great way to teach that wheel trade strategy. And if you go dig into our archives, if you look up the video I did on CEI, where I turned it into a negative cost basis position inside of 6 weeks, that's some neat stuff. And if you like to day trade and swing trade penny stocks, the wheel trade will make sense to you. And it's kind of a really cool thing you can do with it. So let me see here. 50-cent puts are not quite worth selling on that just yet because it looks like the bid price is 20 cents. So you'd be kind of stuck selling that bid price of 20 cents on a 50-cent put expiring on the 18th for MULN, which would put your cost basis at 30 cents. Well, that's just under 2 cents above your price right now. Let's see if there's another way. How about later expiration? It's going to take too long to go to, isn't it? If you're willing to hang on to this thing for a long time, you could probably put yourself in a better position. December 16th put, 50-cent put selling for 25 cents. That would get you somewhere because then your cost basis would be 25 cents, and it's under that 28 cents it is trading at now. But let's look at the time frame on this thing. Looking at a grinding sideways chart, and the 2-hour chart shows this as being kind of a point where it can become a double bottom. Comparing to Ford, if you use your mind's eye, you can see a little diamond pattern down here. It's not one that I would necessarily trade just yet, though, because I want to make sure it's going to trend a little bit first. But yeah, hell with it. Let's draw one anyway. Might have to do it in heckin' ashy candles. No, we'll do.
Are we going to go to 39.20 here?
On SPY, I
Looks
think we
like-
could.
No, 39.20.
Oh, on the futures.
Yeah.
Yeah, easily. So set it and forget it's pretty cool. But you can also look at generating income on your long position over time with that too. So if the price starts to approach 50 cents, suddenly those 50-cent covered calls will start becoming valuable, and you can sell those. So if this thing continues to grind sideways for like ever and ever and ever, you can start making some decent returns on that.
Coming back up to the high. 390.19. It's gotta break that for me.
So if you want to do a set it and forget it type of scenario, you can sell that December put there, that December 50-cent put, and it is based against, or it's traded against, if you're selling it short, it's traded against the cash in your account. And in time, the value on that option will dwindle a little bit. In this case, if by some miracle price breaks out above 50 cents, that option will be worthless, and you collect 25 cents a share just selling that option and doing nothing. And essentially, you can take a position on that at the same time. And the idea about selling puts is, if you're long the stock anyway, you went and bought and paid for those shares, somewhere between 24, 25 cents, reasonable entry anyway. Then you go and you sell a put with the notion of, am I willing to double my position? And a lot of people think of this as averaging down. They'll go and buy shares as they come down and chase it down to try and average their position down. Well, let's say you bought it at like 40 cents a share. You're willing to average down, but you're not wanting to chase this thing down and pour more and more money into something that's just selling off. If you sell puts instead, every time you sell a put, that premium, if that option gets exercised, you're paid that premium every time. So it becomes an income. The idea is you want to make sure that that premium is going to be below your cost basis if you're long from the bottom up. But if you're long from the bottom down and you're trying to average down, you'll want to wait till you see a reversal before you start selling puts to try and average that down. But if you had a position open in the first place, you could have been selling covered calls that whole time the price was sloping down. When you sell a put to open, you're willing to take that position on. And if you haven't entered that stock yet long, you could do so on your initial. So like your initial purchase of that stock, just sell a cash covered put, and then all of a sudden you're getting paid to wait for the market to come to you. And your break-even price on a 50-cent put, if you sell that December, it's 25 cents. So your cost basis on that would be 25 cents if you're assigned anytime between now and December. So it becomes another thing to consider is that you can buy these options back to close them. And essentially, if that option goes down to 20 cents and the price has gone basically nowhere, you can buy it back at 20 cents and you've made $5 just for sitting on that short put for an X amount of time. So just something to kind of look into. Trading options is one thing, but learning how to be an option seller is a completely different ballgame, because suddenly time is literally paying you, and you're not worried about time eroding your position. So it completely changes the way you think about options as well. And then when you go and do this with like larger dollar stocks like Ford, for instance, would be a great one. You can look at selling at the money or just slightly out of the money weekly puts on that thing, and just sitting there generating income on this thing. Also selling covered calls against a long position outside the money. And over and over and over again, you can trade these things short, buy them back to close them for less than you sold them for ideally, generate income on them. Or if you want to take assignment on it, sell it in the money or at the money. And if it comes back down, you literally get paid to add to your position while the market ticks on. So I'm going to go over that a little bit later on tonight with somebody who we're talking to, and this is going to be pretty exciting. I've mentioned it in a couple of our previous week's videos. Not saying his name now, but I'll say it later. And when you guys see who we're talking to, you can understand what my process is. Is that I want to, let's just say I want to go out there and teach a bunch of apes how to be gorillas and sell options. So we'll go with that. Alrighty, well that's just about to do it for my YouTube channel this morning, but let me read this. There's some replies here I haven't been reading because I've been looking at charts and looking at the camera. I'm trying to hold long, set it and forget it, and just focus on my stock education. Okay, I got in at 52 cents and have been buying it up down to 27 cents. I am all in. Thanks for teaching. Love it. So you're pretty much out of ammo to sell puts at this point, but you can still sell covered calls. But finding a covered call that's going to be above your cost basis, should you be assigned on a covered call, is going to be a little tricky. Because like nobody wants to buy those 50-cent calls. Gosh, you're looking at probably January before you can make a dime on those things, or a nickel, that is. If you wanted to take some of that position, you don't have to sell calls against the whole position. You can sell calls against part of the position so that you can have that ammo to go and sell puts later. January 20th, 50-cent calls right now, you can get 5 cents for them, but if you look at the high-low of that thing, a few of them sold at 10 cents. That'd be ideal because then you're well above your cost basis, which I'm going to assume would average probably about 48 cents a share-ish, if I'm not mistaken, if you average down to 27 from 52, somewhere in the middle there you probably met. You can go in and sell some covered calls against that position so that you can have a little bit more capital in your account, because when you sell a covered call, that's deposited to your account instantly. You can act on that cash, and your position backs that play. So you can go and sell a few covered calls, generate some cash so that you can go and also sell a cash covered put and add to that position. And like I said, wait for the market to come to you, but get paid for it. So you're getting paid for your time. I'm looking at that thing when it comes back above 50 cents. I'm going to start wheel trading it. But for now, I might add a couple hundred shares, or I might even sell a couple of those December puts just to make it my initial position, and start with that. If and when MULN starts to build some steam and get some investors in it long term, it could turn into a really good wheel trade. Of course, my risk is always going to be my assignment price down to zero if the company does go bankrupt, or gets delisted, or gets threatened to be delisted, and God forbid does a reverse split to keep their listing on. Then those options kind of F me on that, but that's the risk to take. But I mean, 50 cents to zero, not a huge loss if you've got enough risk management in your account.
39.20, son of a gun.
Not too bad. But
Sorry,
yeah,
Tony.
if you check us out, like we've been saying. Oh, you're okay, man. Membership is equivalent to the cost of taking a family of four to a Chick-fil-A dinner. Come on over, check us out. It's our monthly rate's low enough where you can learn a lot about how to trade these options in a very short amount of time, and at least you'll be able to kick off the idea of being able to wheel trade something. And when this strategy gets more and more popular with some of the people I'm thinking who are still holding bags of things at way higher than they should have bought prices, this is going to kind of change the way the market works a little bit if enough people follow this, where suddenly you'll have much higher options liquidity on stocks like MULN, and it will produce a little bit more value in those options. And also it kind of drives the price action in reverse, because suddenly you have interest in those shares that you're holding, that you're selling options against. So it builds options liquidity, it builds options, expands the price on those options, and it draws more interest to the stock, and people start buying shares. They watch those options change. When they see those sweeps, they go, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy into this position. Well, if they're buying options, and you're the guy selling them, time is just going to sit there and pay you. They're going to be worried about time decay while you're not. So I'll sign off with that, guys. I'll leave you guys.
That's where we want to go. Come join us.
Absolutely.
Come learn.
Yeah, they definitely have some institutional investment, and that's one thing to look at. Look at some fundamentals on the thing too, but just know that you can literally get paid to hold the position over time. And if you've got patience and got the fortitude to manage risk and be able to assess a stock for being able to sell options on like that, dude, you're going to go far. But it's going to take a little while to build that. So don't think you can do it overnight, but you'll definitely learn how to work these out. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow and also later tonight. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Get some alerts. We will be live tonight somewhere between 4 and 5 o'clock. I'm not sure exactly when we're breaking this, but we got some really, really great things coming to our YouTube channel tonight. So we'll see you guys around. Oh, where are we, guys? Yeah, we're at, let me just pop a link. bullishbears.com, and I'll throw that in there. Click on a link, sign up, and did I put a space in there? Jeez. You'll figure it out. Anyway, yeah, check us out at www.bullishbears.com. Go look through our site. We've actually been rebuilding our site in the background for a long time now. We're about ready to go live with the rebuild site, but the site still works. Just it's getting a huge update in the next few days here. Anyways, with that, I'm going to end the YouTube stream, and we will see you guys later, and also see you tomorrow.